here to weigh in. Fox News legal analyst Gregg Jarrett. I'm going to get to what Lindsey Graham said on this program last night. We've got to have a bill. It's got to pass now. We have got to stop any support for sanctuary cities and states. And those people that have implemented those policies, in my mind, are aiding and abetting in the law breaking and obviously helping to obstruct justice. Is there any part of my legal analysis that's wrong?
No, it's 100% correct, pointing out that the fundamental problem, Sean, is cities like Minneapolis who mistakenly think they have a right to declare themselves sanctuaries for illegals. Well, I got news for them. Giving sanctuary is against the law. Specifically, the law passed by Congress. Democrats voted for it. Bill Clinton signed it back in 1996. That law requires states and cities to cooperate with ICE requests, and that means honoring detainers. Now, the state's prison system does that in Minnesota, but the Minneapolis jail system absolutely refuses. As a result, violent criminals are released onto the streets to re-victimize citizens. Ignoring that legal duty carries a punishment under that law. A city can lose federal funding, tens of millions of dollars. And if that doesn't get their attention, there is yet another law. Prosecution is an option because it is a crime to harbor or shield somebody here illegally, which is what Minneapolis is doing. The statute is 8 U.S.C. 1324. Anybody can look it up. It's pretty clear. So, Sean, it's so hard to believe that any sensible person could ever object to making a community safer by arresting and deporting alien criminals who victimize innocent people with violence like murder, rape, kidnapping, child abuse. But, these Minnesota protesters are siding with the criminals. So is Waltz and Fry, both of whom are ginning up the street rage, all to protect the worst of the worst under the masquerade of some imagined state authority that exists nowhere in the law.
Greg,
protesters don't have veto power over immigration enforcement.
Let me ask you about this video of Pretti from 10 days prior. And I'll concede what his lawyer is arguing that, OK, even though we see a very aggressive, to me, violent looking, spitting at law enforcement, confrontational individual that is armed, I mean, what does that tell us about the mindset of somebody? I mean, my understanding is his own father was begging him not to do this, not to go to these things and be involved in this. But clearly that is not a good look for him.
Well, it shows his state of mind, an angry person who is expressing his rage with assault. Spitting at an officer is assault, obviously attacking a federal government vehicle and destroying the property. And then he seems to resist to some extent the arrest. It tells you a lot about his mindset that then extended a week later when he intervened, when a different group of officers, Customs and Border Patrol, were trying to fend off a protester. He gets involved, resists arrest. He's committing crimes all over the place. Now, it's tragic that he lost his life, and it may be a case of, mistaken perceptions when the shooting occurred, which invokes the imperfect self-defense. But that video tells a lot about Alex Pretti.
All right, Gregg Jarrett, thank you for that analysis. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.